is right. We can talk about anything you like. Just listen. Take a walk right over to my kitchen. What you wanna do? Come mix it up with the stew.
That's what we're doing. You hear the theme song. We're mixing it up with the stew.
Weird dances today. I'm sorry. It's weird, right?
Yeah, you feeling yourself. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Whatever. It must be Wednesday.
It is a Wednesday hump day, but we're loving it. This is the stew. I'm Les.
I'm Janae. And I'm Anika.
And boy, we have got a great show lined up for you today. But first, we're going to talk about our ever so favorite person on the planet.
Donald, or should I call him President Trump, has
Not
announced.
president yet. He's president-elect.
Just let it sink in,
No.
Leslie. Let it sink in.
No, he's elect.
President Trump has decided to give up his salary, or he said no to his presidential salary, which is a whole $400,000 per year, which might
is like
I
$1
say,
for him.
a drop in the bucket for Mr. Trump. So it's easy to say no to that.
Yeah.
And what do you think?
Because apparently he makes, I think, I don't know, some like $3.1 billion
Yeah,
annually.
but you know what?
something or
He's
the other,
only
but-
like 134 in the world in terms of being rich. You know, he's down the totem pole. You don't think so?
Yeah.
Only
but
134.
the point is, he's still, it's not like he's a pauper. Like, come on.
No, he's not. But in any event, if he was doing it to kind of duck out of more taxes, it's not going to work because you're taxed on what's available to you and not what you actually take in the U.S.
Right.
So if he wants, so there have been presidents in the past, this isn't new, that said, no, I don't want my presidential salary.
Right.
A lot of them gave it to charity instead.
Yes.
I think Obama gave 5% of his salary back to the
He did.
Treasury to help with federal workers.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, he still has to pay taxes. Or maybe he doesn't. I don't even know. He never released
I
his
know.
tax returns.
And it's so amazing to me still that America has now a president-elect that hasn't
Let
revealed
it
that,
sink
but
in,
it's okay. He's
Leslie.
going to
Let
be the
it
president.
sink in.
No, but I say if he doesn't want to accept the salary, he should just follow suit like other presidents have done and donate it to charity. Since he makes so much money by other means, you know, in other avenues, he's just got it rolling in from his various golf courses and his hotels. So, you know, donate it to charity. Go ahead. And in fact, he should put it towards some of these minorities that he's been dissing all throughout his campaign.
No, but
That's
they
all
all
I'm
getting
saying.
kicked out soon, girls. So, in any event, in local news,
Wah,
what do you got?
Well, in local news, a story came out recently in one of the local dailies about Grand Bahamas Power Company apparently wanting to tax their citizens for Hurricane Matthew. $25 million is said to be needing to recoup. And I'm just like, how are you taxing somebody, though, for a natural disaster? No one has control over that. That's just not fair.
It's like
at all.
it's a surcharge or an extra charge that they're trying to implement, like $25 added to your
Regardless
bill.
of what it is. How is that any different from when the Prime Minister said a few weeks back that they were going to possibly implement a hurricane tax?
Yeah.
It's a natural occurrence. I'm thinking, why don't you have some kind of system or process in place for this kind of occurrence?
Like a contingency plan.
Exactly.
Again, once again, it happens.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel. We're not
We
talking about a
know-
government entity here, are we?
No, but the same concept applies. That you're wanting to tax somebody for something that is beyond their control. That's beyond everyone's control. put
I
it
don't know,
into a
Anika.
plan.
I don't know. I feel like the government tax was an issue for me, but I mean, this is a private company that I don't know if they keep stuff in there. I mean, they should. You're right. They should keep something in their kitty for,
I think
these type of things.
it just continuously kind of reiterates the fact that we have a lot of things, a lot of breakdowns within our structures and how we handle things like natural disasters. How do we rebuild our communities and our country? And I think that this may reveal to us that we need to put things in place to ensure that people can't just be popping out of the woodwork like, I'm just charging you an extra $25
Thank you.
for what?
Thank you.
OMG, people
Business
can barely
continuity?
afford to live.
I
People
don't
can
know.
barely afford to eat. Why in the world am I being taxed extra money once again for
Preach,
natural
honey.
disaster
Go
that
ahead.
we have the possibility to have every year? I'm so literally fed up. I almost want to cry, but I also want to like be like, what kind of nanny this is? It's a bunch of
I
nanny.
don't know. I'm on the fence
we
about
say that
it.
on air?
It's a
Nanny.
I'm on the fence about it. It's a private
No,
company.
Nanny.
That I
Why
do.
are you
I
on
do
the
think.
fence? Because
I don't
it's a
know.
private company and not a
'cause
government entity?
I do
Oh my
agree.
God.
They should have a
When you
business continuity plan.
Contingency plan?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine because it's a bunch of nanny. It's fine that you're stumbling
No.
on your words. But I mean, I feel like there needs to be some sort of gatekeeper
No.
or there must be some way. Like, where does the buck stop? I mean, seriously, after I done pay all these taxes,
Exactly.
what am I
I'm
going to
with
do?
her.
People
Yes.
getting laid off left and right. You can hardly find a decent job. I mean, God forbid you got a degree even. You're overqualified. It is nearly impossible. I am
Preach.
so fed up.
Yes.
Give me a break. Give
I
us
don't
a
know.
break. We
You know
need a
what?
break.
I think I have something that'll make you feel better. We can forget all about that just now. You can calm down.
I'm traumatized.
WhatsApp news,
Don't be
honey.
traumatized. Don't be
Tell us
traumatized.
what's happening
Let
in
the government
WhatsApp
pay for
news.
it. Let our good old government pay for it. Just
Yes,
kidding.
That's
Just
a
kidding.
great option. You know,
Complete
but yes,
joke.
in WhatsApp news, I rolled over in my bed the other day, open, in my little group chat, and what do we find? Jack Yor laid out in a hotel lobby
Cold.
here in Nassau, Bahamas.
That did remind me of a scene out of Friday the movie. Remember Friday? And next Friday, Friday after next.
Now
You got
listen,
knocked
On the floor.
out.
now, there's been a lot of speculation as, to what caused such an uproar in, this hotel lobby. I've heard quite a few stories about somebody's wife.
Oh, my
I don't know,
Lord.
whole thing. I don't know what the story is,
But he released a statement, right?
Oh yeah, he's on the
Yes.
front page of I think it's the Guardian this morning,
Tribune.
the Tribune. He's in front page of the
Said he wanted to
Daily.
be a
Saying he-
peacemaker
yes, he was
between some
being a
drunk
peacemaker.
Bahamians that were having a
Really?
fight. Yes, girl,
Okay.
I heard it.
Yeah.
Did you hear?
What did you
Bahamian-
think? What did you think the fight
what
was
he
about?
said.
Like if you had to create a scenario right now with voiceovers and everything.
Well, the original story, which I stuck with, was that it was some sort of voice sound issue at the concert, and
That
he was
was
having a fight with his
one
sound
theory,
guy.
yes.
That was a theory at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, Lil Wayne had some issue years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Very similar. So maybe sound is a big issue for these guys. I don't know. But to get
Listen,
knocked on the floor,
That's what I'm
for it,
saying.
I
No,
don't know.
was
that would have
out
been
stone
straight up
cold.
petty bay. That's all I could say.
Did you see that there was a meme and it says, the difference, let me tell you the difference between two artists. A conscious artist, get it? Because he's conscious, Kyla. And then an unconscious artist. And he's laid out. No, it's not a funny matter. Violence is never okay. I mean, and it's so unfortunate because Jack here comes here every week?
But listen,
Okay,
and
okay.
so, ladies, I kind of want to not really change the subject, but this actually brings up a really good point. If you found out that your man was cheating, would you fight for him? And I'm not just talking have a conversation. I'm talking cut a movie.
Well, I'm not cutting no movie nowhere. I am a lady always, and I am not gonna allow. Listen, if you low down enough to cheat on me, I'm not going to, cause you. Well, let me rephrase that. If you are low down enough to cheat on me, I'm not gonna have that be a reason for me to embarrass myself. You
Okay.
can be low down and dirty on your own. I might cut a movie behind closed doors, maybe. But in public, I ain't trying to end up on Bahamas
not
News
buying
on
it.
my
I'm
head
not
and
buying
things.
it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Bull crap. Take off them rings, take off that shoe.
You're not
and
crazy,
let's
you go
get
leave
the
on,
rings on
honey.
it.
Let's get.
What you gonna do when you end up in people WhatsApp news and your children gotta see it?
But
Oh,
like
mommy was
happened
fighting in the
now.
lobby.
I don't know.
You ain't gonna embarrass me like that.
I mean, I've gone through this. I'll say,
tell.
yeah, no, I've gone through this. And I have a very funny story that I'm not sure I should share on camera.
Girl, the lights are
But
on.
I'll tell you how I handled it. I think everything happened behind closed doors, and it wasn't exactly cheating or anything like that. But what I did is I left. I actually left the two, and I let them.
Okay.
Oh.
I let them handle their business.
Okay.
Okay.
And
You
then
didn't cut a movie.
No, I let them sit with their thoughts, you know, together.
Yeah.
I left, and then I came back, and I kicked him.
Well, I will say this much. Okay, the knee-jerk reaction from me would probably want to be to get down and dirty and, you know, give World Star Hip Hop and Bahama News
Leslie.
an extra post on
Would
their
you?
feed. But the sensible part of me would be to sit, reevaluate,
That
talk
sounds
it over,
calm.
blah,
Listen,
blah,
I just
blah,
want you
blah,
to. I just want you to see me seeing you.
That's it. Just let them sit with their thoughts.
I ain't cutting no movie,
You know?
child. Ain't
Yeah.
nobody a lady like me.
But definitely, though, something like that, you know, cheating on the whole is cause for something got to give,
Yeah.
something got to change.
Yep.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
And change is
saying?
important.
And talking about change, let's go into change on the whole as a
Okay.
country.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of stuff that I'm about to break up with my country for.
Oh, right?
And I want
I'm
to
with
see
you.
some change,
Yeah.
right? So I've
the
been thinking a
ring
lot
off.
about if I had the power to change something in our country, what would it
What
be?
would it be?
And
Okay.
you know, from my point of view, I think that we've lost a little bit of our basics, and I want to see us come back to it. And that, I mean, it's just a small change,
Yeah.
but it's something that affects me. It affects us as a country, and that's that we've lost our service a bit, our customer service.
bit?
We've gained the sense of entitlement,
Yes.
and because tourism is our #1 industry still in this country, we can't lose it. And we need to kind of, you know, get back to basics, you
Yeah.
know, and that's my version of change.
Yeah. For me, aside from all the obvious things that need to change, like, you know, legislation and our politicians, I will go kind of petty. And if I had to say, you know, run for politics, I try to run for the ministry that's in charge of the potholes and the traffic lights. Because as small as that may seem, I can't tell you how much times I just be cussing on these roads because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's all. I
You
would
got that
change.
slow leak in your tire.
I would change the roads. Yes.
I think I'll definitely change the way we as a people take ownership of our responsibility to drive change in our country. I think a lot of times we want change. We know exactly what we want. We know exactly what needs to happen to push us to the next level, but we don't do it.
Yeah,
and
we're
you know,
very lax.
we're great at being internet gangsters, but we're not really great at implementing things and execution and also consistency in ensuring that it becomes a habit and ensuring that we continue to
Exactly.
drive the country forward. And that's myself included. You know, I'm frustrated about a lot. You know, in terms of what's happening in our country, but I'm like, oh, I'm too busy, or I don't have the time, or
Yeah.
how do I do this, or it's just me. And so I would like to see that change in myself too, is that to be
Well,
the change that you want to
yep.
see
Well,
in
that's
your
what
world.
might
That's-
be coming up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great segue into
Yeah.
what's coming up next. You don't want to miss it. We're going deeper into change and what we can do to make sure that we drive our country forward. Don't miss out. We'll be back after the break.
That was a super closing,
Yeah,
honey.
it really
Great.
was.
Chit chat. Chit chat.
We're back and you're watching The Stew. Thank you so much for tuning in. This segment, we have the pleasure of being joined by two very special guests, the creators of the initiative Blackout Bahamas, which will be taking place November 25th. Ranard Henfield and John Bostwick are in studio with us. Welcome, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Now, Mr. Henfield, we know you as the creator of the R. Carmichael initiative, but now you have put forth this movement, Blackout Bahamas, a march that'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. How did you go from one to the other? How did this all come about?
Well, again, the Our Carmichael initiative is more so a community level initiative. And one of the things I've noticed in the last years is only so much you can do on the community level, that at some point in time you need to address the national issues. And the We March initiative, John and I are working together to make sure this comes off properly, that it involves as many persons as possible. But it's an opportunity for every Bahamian in this country that's dissatisfied with the course that the country is headed to come together in a united effort to basically say to Parliament, you're not hearing us, you're going to hear us now.
Right.
And this is what we want to see happen. Not so much to protest things that would have happened in the last 10, 15, or 20 years, but more so to use this opportunity for all of us, whether it's businesses, whether it's the unions, whether it's students, teachers, nurses, doctors, the average Bahamian who's struggling to make ends meet, for us to come together and let the government know, and any potential candidate, that let them know basically we want a country that's for Bahamians. We're tired of being taxed, overtaxed, we're tired of the crime, we're tired of the dirty communities we're living in, and we want to see better. And we're coming together as one voice, one Bahamas, one set of Bahamians to make a difference.
Right. So based on some of the comments that I'd seen on Facebook, there are some people that are a little bit critical that are saying they can't support it because they think it's a political move or that they think it's a protest, but you are very careful to not include that word protest. And what do you say to the naysayers and the skeptics that feel this is a waste of time?
Well, one of the first things I always try to explain to persons is if you look at Our Carmichael, it's apolitical. It's nothing to do with any political party. And the We March initiative is the same thing. It's nothing to do with any political party. We basically went from saying we don't want any political parties or politicians involved to the point that we realize and have to appreciate that everyone in this country is affiliated with some political party. Now, we don't want to say to you, because you're affiliated with UDP, FNM, or DNA, you can't participate, or PLP. All of us, regardless of which political party we've supported, are dissatisfied with the way this country's headed. So I've turned around and said to persons, regardless of your political interests, please come out, but please no political paraphernalia. Right. We want everybody to wear black. And John and I discussed this at length. We want everybody to just wear black. We don't care which political party you're in. Yeah. And just come out. It's nothing to do with politics. This is about our nation and us as a people.
So let's talk about the march specifically then. Can you tell us what to tell people, what to expect on the day of the march, which is November 25th? Is that correct?
Right.
What am I going to expect when I go out there?
Well, you're going to expect to be, firstly, a part of something that is absolutely unique. And to address Leslie's question, standing up for your rights could never be a waste of time. And that's what to tell people. Standing up for your rights could never, ever be a waste of your time. And that we are finally going to live the motto that we all grew up under. And we are the first generation really to come of age under this motto of forward, onward, upward, together. That entire motto suggests movement, It suggests progression, and it suggests unity. Our pledge is, united in love and unity. Okay, so that's what we're all about, and we're about to show that, and truthfully in love. Our national anthem says what? March on. Okay, so we are actually going to live the fullness of who we are, and we're truly going to be all together as one. And one of the catchphrases that we use, because there are a lot of one-liners under the We March, hashtag We March, and we invite people, and this is a perfect venue, we invite people like your viewers to come up with their own We March.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have a bunch of We March for our country.
Yes.
We march for our future. We march for our children. Okay, we march for unity. We march for equal rights. All right, we march for gender equality. All right, so all of those one-liners actually encapsulate why any individual would want to be there. So what you could expect, to answer your question, is to come and be a part of a gathering that gathers at Fort Charlotte, Awaki, and hopefully also at the Eastern Parade as the numbers are swelling. The routes are being added to. So we hope to have a movement come from the east and a movement come from the west and converge in Rawson Square and to actually occupy Rawson Square. And to occupy Rawson Square for a period of at least 12 hours while presenting quite a detailed petition.
Tell us more about the petitions.
We have, coming out of it, in actual fact, going into it, there are a series of petitions that will converge into one massive petition. So there are petitions for persons who are interested in pushing the issue, for example, of public disclosure. We feel that all persons should be held to the same level, and that those persons, public officers and parliamentarians present and past, who are in breach of that act should be made to disclose. There is a petition to get the Minister of Finance and or the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee to table certain questions, because there are a lot of things that we as young Bahamians, as Bahamians in general, really want to know, you know, and there are details we want to know as to how certain things have been managed. We won't go into that here, but there are specific things that I think a lot of us really want to know. So petitions, for example, for the saving of the beaches. Some of these issues that have been ongoing but have been sidelined. We've been distracted from them. And petitions with regard to the drafting of new legislation for term limits.
Tell me something. What has to be done, right? So the big question is, I'm looking for a compelling argument for the audience, right? What needs to be done to have these petitions even passed? How do we know that if we go out to march, that there's something that we are doing to make sure that it happens?
Well, let Ranard fill that in. Yeah.
One of the things John touched on a moment ago is that this march is only the first step of several steps. So we don't want persons and viewers or the public to think this is it. You're going to march and go home and that's it if nothing happens. This is the first step. So, but before we even get to the first step, the foundation of that yard or the porch is where we say to the persons who are marching, register to vote. Once you've registered, you're going to come to this march, and we're going to have you register at the march as well. But in addition to registering, there are going to be several petitions on a number of issues that we want to use those signatures, contact information, to provide you with additional information to educate you on these various national issues. Okay, so you're going to march. But in the meantime, in the background, from 1 p.m. on Friday, we're going to start sectioning persons off into this 5,000 people feel strongly about Crown land reform. And we're going to create a focus group that we'll be able to email and reach out to persons and say, listen, what is your input? Because the parliamentarians aren't putting this on the table. Let's get your input. And on November 25th, when we march to Parliament, we're basically saying to our parliamentarians, we want a Crown land reform. Have it done by January 10th. And if it's not done by January 10th, from these 5,000 people that signed these petitions, we're going to sit down and we're going to draft the legislation. And we're going to be back here on January 10th, and we expect you to have drafted something, put it in the public domain for us to review, approve otherwise, or here's ours. Okay, and if you don't pass it, then we're going to take it to another step, and we don't want to go into too much detail today, but this isn't just a simple march. This is the people getting their voice and saying to Parliament, either you're going to do it, or we have a plan to get it done.
I have to add too, though, as it pertains especially for young people, I feel like young people feel like this has nothing to do with me, or I can't help affect change. And I want to first ask you about why is it really important for us to do this, or why is it important for us to take such a stance? That's just my first question for the young people out there who feel like, I don't know this language, I don't know what y'all talking about, I don't feel like my voice is going to affect change, I don't see why I need to go out and do this. Why is it important for them to do this?
Very briefly, my grandparents, I always say, were sold dreams by politicians 40 years ago. My parents were sold dreams 20 years ago. And here I am in 2016 with a 3-year-old child, and I'm still being fed promises by politicians and nothing has been done. At some point in time, we all have to stand up and say, listen, that path you're headed down is not in the best interest of us and our children, and we must stand up and let our voices heard. If you really look throughout our history, a lot of the changes for the better in this country has been as a result of the young generation at the time stepping forward and say, enough of that, this is the path we want to head down. And I think John mentioned earlier to us what is happening with COBUS, and how Cobus was so involved in the 90s with the College of the Bahamas Union of Students.
Yeah.
That's young people, you know.
Yeah.
When you think of persons like Celindan and what they did back in the day, those were young people, you know.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a generation of 75, 80-year-old persons making
Right,
changes
right.
for us. It was always young people.
it's the youth.
But for the last 20 years, we've been convinced that you no longer have a voice. This is that opportunity for us as young people to partner with our parents and grandparents and say, no, we are taking our voice back and we're returning power to the people. That power that was taken from us, we are going to return it to the people.
Ranard, John, thank you both so very much for being here. I feel like we could talk to you all day about this issue, but we really do want to encourage everyone out there to go out and have your voice be heard. It's not just a march, but as Ranard and Mr. John said, there's going to be voter registration available as well as petitions for you to sign, so get involved. November 25th, Arawak Key, 1 p.m. Don't miss it. And of course, follow Blackout Bahamas on Facebook. We'll be back with more Stu after this.
Hey guys, you're watching The Stew, and this is your tech tip. I'm Anika. Today we talked about people cutting movies in lobbies because someone might be cheating. Here's how you can avoid having the same happen in your relationship. Here are some apps to turn the spice up between you and your partner. Are you looking for creative ideas for date night for your special someone? The app Date Ideas is perfect for you. Scroll through and gain some inspiration and put a little spin on it to surprise your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Next up is relationship advice online. Of course, relationships are a lot of work, so if you can get free advice, why not? Keep this great app in your back pocket and reach for it anytime you need help to get through some issues. And finally, iKemasutra. This app is perfect if you'd like to turn things up in the bedroom. Swipe left, swipe right, and have a little fun with your partner. This has been your tech tip. I'm Anika. I'll see you guys next time.
Welcome back to The Stew. It has been a wonderful Wednesday. We want to thank Ranard and John for coming on from Blackout Bahamas. Make sure to go to the march, which is on November 25th. We'll be there, and so many more citizens who want to see better for our country. Thank you for watching. You'll see us again on Friday. Wonderful Friday. Maybe some wine. Who knows? You don't want to miss it. We'll see you then. Bye.
When the vibe is right.